the final race of the Formula 1 season, and it's the final race for Nico Hulkenberg and his career. Hulkenberg has been in the sport for many, many years now, and has unfortunately been quite disappointed by being at the back of the field with Porsche for a few seasons, and he has decided that he is going to be retiring from Formula 1, announcing it in the press conference. Nico Hulkenberg will, however, not be leaving Formula 1 altogether, as he'll be staying within the sport, but he'll be joining and staying with Porsche as a senior personnel. Porsche said this was an easy decision to offer Nico Hulkenberg a senior personnel role within the team. As soon as Hulkenberg said that he was going to be retiring from the sport, he said if there's ever an opportunity for him to work within the team, he would absolutely love to, and Porsche snapped up at that opportunity to keep him on board. Nico Hulkenberg said that the time was right for him to leave the racing area of Formula 1, but he said that he wasn't ready to leave Formula 1 as a whole, and was very glad and thankful for Porsche for offering him a senior personnel role within the team. So we wish Nico Hulkenberg all the best in his final race here today, and hopefully a great future as a senior personnel within the Porsche Formula 1 team. If you look at the race news then, it was McLaren and Mercedes that were the fastest in practice. Mercedes once again showcasing that their car seems to be working now in qualifying trim, but they just can't seem to get that car working in race pace. Renault were also showing very strong race pace, which is encouraging, as for Tom to win the World Drivers' Championship, he needs to win the Grand Prix and hope that Reese DNFs and also secure a fastest lap to get that championship. Reese is the man that's currently leading the championship, and he says that he is ready to fend off the challenges behind. He says McLaren have once again got a good car heading into this weekend, and he's going to put that to the test and try and do well at the Brazilian Grand Prix. Charles Leclerc says that he's still missing a few tenths per lap in his Audi as he looks to struggle here at this race, which is something that he can't afford to have happen to him. And lastly, the final championship contender Tom says that he is confident that he's now got the car underneath him ready to get the job done here at Interlagos. But here we go then, we've got one more race to decide our world champion. Will it be Reese? Will it be Charles Leclerc? Or will it be the massive outsider Tom that takes the championship here at Interlagos? Let's get straight into qualifying and the race for the Brazilian Grand Prix. Yo, what's going on guys? It is Foxydude here. Welcome back to a brand new video and the final race of Season 8 of the F1 journey. We're here for the Brazilian Grand Prix with 3 drivers in contention to win the Formula 1 World Drivers' Championship. If you guys end up enjoying the video, drop a like and subscribe to the channel if you're new around here as well. And if you have a cheeky little look in the top left-hand corner, you can see that it's finally happened. There is a names mod that we can finally use, and I'll leave a link to it in the description down below if you want to go ahead and download it yourselves. But finally, we can actually see things. It's awesome. It's great. First flying lap, we actually went fastest. Second flying lap, that's probably not the way to go through turn 4. Took too much of the exit and too much steering. Lost the back end of the car, and that is us through and through. I then waited to go back out again, but unfortunately for me, the rain actually turned up. There was no rain forecasted for qualifying, but eventually some rain did turn up. So I gave it my all. We were fastest in the first sector, but then we lost time in the middle sector. I tried to get it back in the final sector. It's not going to be good enough, and we're only going to be starting in P12. Alright then guys, so we're here for the start of the Brazilian Grand Prix. It is advantage Reese. He has got pole position for today's race. Remember, we are 26 points back in the Drivers' Championship. We have to win and secure the fastest lap, and Reese has to DNF. Of course, Leclerc as well is 13 points behind in the championship, so he has to win the race and hope that Reese finishes 4th or lower, I think, in order to him to win the championship. So here we go then. Here it is, the championship decider. It is 5 lights, and they are off, and away we go then for the start of the Brazilian Grand Prix. Decent start for us off the line. It's not too bad. We're going to take the inside line though and get ourselves down into turn 1. I tried to dive it up the inside there, but there's a lot of cars that were in front of us, and I didn't want to get involved with them, so we're going to tuck ourselves back in. Still in P12 here. It's Verstappen now is just in front of us here. A little bit of a gaggle of cars now, and quite a gap actually already formed behind us here. Nearly a second now as we go in towards turn 4. Having to put a wheel on the grass there just to avoid trying to make contact with Verstappen and also Van Dorn. Van Dorn loses out to Max Verstappen, and now we're in front of Russell behind us. Gasly tried to get past him, but he couldn't find a way through. We're going to find a way through past Van Dorn in a very audacious area around the outside. So very ambitious there from us, but we get the job done now as we press onward here towards Verstappen now, braking late down the insides here, taking advantage. While all the cars are in a cluster, they always brake earlier than what you can brake, so it's always a great opportunity to get some early moves done, and that's what we've done. We're now up into P10 here in this race, but our championship rivals are in front of us. We've got to do more work here if we're going to press on in this Grand Prix, and I feel like we've got good pace here. Someone that's not got good pace is Sam. He's under pressure here from the Ferrari of Carlos Sainz, it looks like, or potentially Lewis Hamilton. It is Hamilton, and there's also Sainz in there as well, so despite the fact that I said it was Carlos Sainz, then we're correcting myself to Hamilton, I might as well have just said the both of them, because they're all on to attack here as we go through turns 1, 2, and 3. We're also right at the back of this lot, and the Ferraris have passed Sam quite quickly, actually, in all of this. And look ahead, though. The Mercedes-Benz car of, I think that's Nick de Vries, has got ahead of Rees at the start of this race. That's crucial for this championship now, as Hamilton there and Sainz continue to scrap away now between the pair of them. Only one of them is going to stay in front here. As they fly through, it is going to be Lewis Hamilton that gets in front here of Carlos Sainz. For us, though, we're making a move down the inside here of the Mercedes of Sergio Perez in a very lovely manoeuvre there as we pass him. Leclerc now is next up the road, and for Charles Leclerc, that's not going to be for too long, because as I said before, when the cars are in a cluster, they break earlier. We've gone down the inside of Charles Leclerc. Daniel Ricciardo is now next, but we're going to have a look at the race start here, and as you can see, as the 5 lights go out and we are underway, it is actually a very good start for the Mercedes of Nick de Vries, but we'll have a look at his start very soon. For us, though, it was a bit of a tentative start. We tried something a little bit different and tried to go up the inside, as we obviously always do. But on that occasion, it really didn't work out for us. And in the end, it wasn't great. There's on board from Carlos Sainz here. And again, it's another slow start for the Ferrari car. They just can't seem to get their launches right. And you can see here that he struggles now to fend off what looks to be Lando Norris in the Jaguar there. And for him, it's not so good. Nick de Vries, though, his start was absolutely beautiful. Rees did everything he did to cover him off. It's not a bad start from Rees, though. It's just a great start from de Vries. He gets his nose in then up the inside. Rees holds it around the outside of turn 2. But then to the final part of the center S is in turn 3. That's where de Vries gets the run. But for us, though, back on board with the action here. We're going to go round the outside of Daniel Ricciardo into turn 1. Turn 2 then allows us to close the door there. And we're in front of Daniel Ricciardo and up into 7th place now. And early signs in this race showcase that we've got some good pace here as Leclerc now tries to go for a move on Ricciardo, who in thus tries to go for a move on us, but only because he's trying to defend from Leclerc. But eventually we managed to get ourselves through and we're still in P7. But early signs then, we've got good pace here. We're keeping up with everybody in DRS, and that's a good thing. And you can see here that we're closing in on our competitors now. So this is crucial for us in this race. However, as we saw at the US Grand Prix, we had good pace in the opening stint and then we threw it away. So this time around, as we dive it down the inside of Lando Norris there, caught him unawares in that same hairpin. We need to make sure that we don't make any further mistakes strategically wise. Otherwise, we're going to be in a lot of problems here as we now make our way up the hill now. You can see we've got Rees versus de Vries on the right-hand side. We've got myself on the left-hand side. That now switches to Sam versus Carlos Sainz. We've got Rees here going around the outside of de Vries in towards turn 1. We've got Sainz and Sam going for it in towards the first corner as well. Rees, though, looks like he's got the move versus de Vries. Not quite. They're going to scrap it out even more. But Sam and Sainz are also trying to get involved in their own action here. Sam's going around the outside. Sainz and Sam drag race down towards turn 4. But at the end of the straight now, Rees and de Vries are still going at it here. Rees trying to go around the outside of Nick de Vries. He can't afford any form of contact in this race. They're still side by side. So too is Sam and Sainz. They're still going at it now. We're right behind Sam and Sainz. We can't find a way through them. So we've got to back out and bide our time here. Rees is still alongside with de Vries. Nick really doesn't want to give this one up without a proper scrap here as Rees has the inside line. Sam has made the move on Sainz. We've now made the move on Carlos Sainz there in that procedure. Rees now has also taken the lead of the Brazilian Grand Prix. Some beautiful action between ourselves, Sam and Sainz, and also between Rees and Nick de Vries there. Lovely bit of action. As now we try and make our way towards the back of Sam here. We're 0.4 of a second behind here. We've got DRS now on this straight to make our way up into 4th place in this Grand Prix here. Blasting down the straight here. Not using any of my battery because, of course, we've got problems with the MGUH and it's not allowing us to recover our energy well enough, and I don't want to go ahead and just blast it all on the straight and not get the job done. So we're closer now, only 0.2 of a second. Now I'm comfortable to deploy some battery here, and as you can see, making our way up towards turn 4 now. Again, having a look at Sam here, moving towards the middle of the track. Sam now goes a little bit wide in towards turn 4. A little bit of contact there between ourselves and Sam, but nothing too courageous there. Sam got himself out of shape. We check to see if there's any damage on the car. No damage to be done there, and we can carry on our way here, but we're now in 4th place in this Grand Prix. Now we need to try and see if we can get the hammer down and get away from Sam. Lap 12 of the Grand Prix here. This is Lewis Hamilton, currently running in 3rd place, attacking Nick de Vries for 2nd place in this race, and there's us just behind, hunting them down now, as there goes Hamilton, making his way through on de Vries. De Vries though holds the inside line for the second part of the center S's, but Lewis Hamilton does get the job done. But who's got DRS on the run down towards turn 4? Hamilton's got that run, and he's got better straight line speed here. De Vries though will unsettle Hamilton by just moving him towards the inside line in the corner. De Vries tried to have a little bit of a switch back there. It's not going to be enough for him though. On board now with Reese here, who's attacking Pierre Gasly. So Reese here hitting a little bit earlier in this Grand Prix than everybody else. So I've actually stayed out a little bit longer, and I think Reese actually there is on the soft compound tyres. Is Reese on the softs there? Let's have a little look. Yes, he is on the soft. So Reese then is going a different way. Reese has gone for a 2-stop strategy in this race. We've started on the soft tyres. Reese has pitted here. He's passed Pierre Gasly, and he's on another set of softs as we go on to lap 16 of the Grand Prix now. Lewis Hamilton here is on the hard compound tyres going a different way, and I'm going to go ahead and split every form of strategy that everybody's done and go an even different way in this Grand Prix, and that is to go onto a set of the medium compound tyres, and I'm going to the end. I'm not coming in anymore, as we see both Red Bulls there coming into the pits. Now, both Red Bulls here, I'm going to just put this out here. There was a game glitch, and both of them just kept pitting every single lap. I'm not sure what it was. So they're actually a lap down in this race. You'll find out now as we come through. So they all pitted, like, for the first time, okay. And then every single lap since, they've just been coming into the pit. So you can see there that it's approaching back markers. So it's a real shame that that's happened to the Red Bulls. Yeah, not the best thing, as we nearly make contact with Van Dorn, have to go off the circuit there to lap him. But we do lap him. But there we go. On board now here with Daniel Ricciardo. He's catching up to Lewis Hamilton. Ricciardo is doing the same strategy as Reese. So McLaren are committing to a 2-stopper in this Grand Prix. Ricciardo now tries to go to the outside line of turn 1. That gives him the inside of turn 1. Gets the outside of turn 2. Holds it for the second phase of turn 3. Hamilton though, he has got DRS, and he might just go for it here down towards turn 4. That's us in the background there, having a little look as we now try and find our way through towards these people. But for now, we have to settle and just watch them battle here as Hamilton tries to make his way up towards the second part of this lap. Will Daniel Ricciardo get through? He should do with those soft compound tyres, but Hamilton is going to keep fighting this one here and make sure that he does not give up track position to Ricciardo. But unfortunately, enough is enough. Track position has to be given up there. He's on the hard tyres. Ricciardo has to stop again in this race. So too does Reese. And now we're on board here with, I believe this is Daniel Ricciardo again. So he's now stopped from those soft compound tyres onto a set of the mediums. And crucially here, he's about to pass a championship rival, Charles Leclerc, who's currently on the hard tyres, going a different way on strategy as well, is currently battling with Ricciardo. These guys are behind us, and Ricciardo just breezes past Charles Leclerc there. I think that's for P4 in this race. Leclerc currently 5th at the moment. But yeah, that's a big move there in the championship, not only for myself, but also for Reese, because Ricciardo needs to make sure that he is playing the team game here. As speaking of team play, there is none actually. I thought these were two Porsches fighting each other. It's actually an Aston Martin and a Porsche, so I completely take back my segue and move on with my life. I believe this is Hulkenberg and Oscar Piastri going for a little bit of a battle, and the Porsche car comes out on top there. I don't know if that's Hulkenberg or not. I actually can't see quite badly there. Lap 29 of the Grand Prix, and our middle stint has been very, very quiet here. Now, we've had some good pace on these medium compound tyres. We are catching Lewis Hamilton. We've been pushing hard on this lap, and this is the first time now we're in DRS range here of Hamilton in front. It's been a very quiet stint for us. We came out on some clean air. The medium compound tyres have been working well. Now we've just been very slowly but surely trying our hardest to get that gap down between ourselves and Lewis Hamilton, and that's exactly what we've done in this race here as we now open up the DRS once again here and try to blast down the straight here. Crucially, there is Reese behind us. He is currently in P3, so we've got a yellow flag which completely disappears, so I think there's retirement on the previous lap. So Reese then is directly behind us. He's on the medium compound tyres going to the end. His mediums are a lot fresher than mine, and he's closing the gap quite quickly. So if I'm going to do anything in this Grand Prix and hopefully try and win this race, I've got to blast away. But annoyingly, Reese has the fastest lap of the race. I need fastest lap or I'm not winning this Grand Prix. So we're already at a disadvantage in this race, but so far we're very close to achieving what we need to do, in this race and win in the Grand Prix, but we've got to pass Lewis Hamilton here. So let's see if we can do it as we now go on to the start-finish straight here. Once more then to start lap 31 of the Grand Prix. DRS is going to get enabled for us very, very shortly. There it goes. DRS is now enabled on the straight here. Let's see if we can get close to Hamilton and try and make a move in towards turn 1. We're gaining, but we're not close enough. So we'll set ourselves up through turns 1, 2 and 3. Get a clean run through here and then make the move down towards turn 4. Fantastic run through the center S's. That's what we wanted. Now we're right on the back of Lewis Hamilton. Lewis covers the inside line very aggressively. We'll go to the outside line. Brake nice and late. Round the outside of Lewis Hamilton into turn 4. And we make the move on the Ferrari. And we're up into the lead of the Brazilian Grand Prix. And now we just need to try and pull away. Hopefully Reese DNS for this Grand Prix, otherwise we're in trouble. But lap 34 of the Grand Prix, there is trouble now. Reese has caught up to the back of Hamilton. He's pushing Hamilton along and he's pushing him into me, and I'm the one now that's starting to suffer a little bit with these tyres. Of course, these guys in front, behind me, sorry, have got better tyres. Obviously, Hamilton on the hards is going to be able to go longer. Reese on fresh mediums. We're also trying to look after our fuel as well. But enough of that. We've got to look after the lead of this race as well as all the other problems we've got. Hamilton tries to go for it into the centre S's. We cover that one off quite nicely. Now down towards the end of the centre S's, as we can see here, trying to defend the inside into turn 4. Reese now has got DRS on Lewis Hamilton. Hamilton's got DRS on myself. Lewis goes to the outside line of turn 4. Can he make it stick on us? No, we're going to cut the door on Lewis Hamilton quite nicely there. But Hamilton gets a great run though through the straight now in towards the middle sector. Will Hamilton go for it here? We're going to fend the position off though. Reese might fancy a run here on Lewis. We're going to cut to that now, but Lewis doesn't allow Reese to get through, and he stays behind him in this Grand Prix. As you can see now, we're still leading this Grand Prix, but Hamilton and Reese are desperate to try and win this Grand Prix. As things stand, Lewis Hamilton is stopping stopping Reese actually from winning this race, but Reese at the moment is going to win the World Drivers' Championship if things stay as they are, because he's got the fastest lap and he's in the podium places, whereas for us, we need to win and hope that Reese DNS and somehow try and sneak a fastest lap from somewhere as we go on to the last lap now of the Brazilian Grand Prix of the season. It's going to come down to the last lap then, so here we go. Lewis Hamilton gets the DRS in towards the first corner, but we're able to cover that one off here as we now make our way through the center S's. Lewis Hamilton is going to try and drop all of his battery here. It's a good run, but we instantly going to go defensive here. Hamilton now towards turn 4. He's got everything turned up to the max here as we go in towards turn 4. We can defend the position though quite nicely, covering off Lewis Hamilton and any form of threat that he's got through there. Hamilton though is going to go for it here as they make their way up towards the middle sector. Here comes Reese though. Oh, there's contact between Lewis Hamilton and Reese on the last lap of the Grand Prix here. Is that going to cost Reese the World Championship? He's gone off at the second sector. Contact made with Hamilton. Ricciardo gets in front of Reese here. He's dropping down the order, and this is on board with Reese now here into the middle sector. He got a great run through here. Contact with Lewis Hamilton that spins Reese around, but I think he's going to be okay here as he now rejoins towards the circuit, gets back on the track here. There goes Daniel Ricciardo in just a second here. There he goes. Reese though carries on, so he's dropped down into 4th place there. Carnage on the last lap of the Brazilian Grand Prix, but that's not enough. I needed more contact than that, to be honest, as we now go through the last corner here. Lewis Hamilton now is on the verge of securing victory. We're on the verge of securing victory. Who's going to get it then as we breeze now down the final straight here? One more time here. Helicopter cam. Here they go. It's a drag race to the line. Lewis Hamilton's coming. He's getting ever closer to the line. It's a photo finish. But we're just going to win the Brazilian Grand Prix by an absolute whisker of a margin there. But what a way to end a Formula 1 World Championship. That was a sensational duel right at the end there between ourselves, Lewis Hamilton and Reese. But there you can see it's the full drivers classification for the Brazilian Grand Prix. We managed to win the Formula 1 Brazilian Grand Prix, but it is Reese that you'll see very soon that is the World Drivers' Champion. Back-to-back championships secured for Reese, and fair play to him. He had a fantastic end to the season. We held on for as long as we could, but when we didn't take advantage, when we took advantage in the races that we were not as quick at, when we were then quick in some of the races that we should be, naturally scoring good points, we just didn't do that. Belgium is the one that stands out there. Lewis Hamilton second though on the road, just 3/100ths of a second back in the end, the classification was. Ricciardo finishes in third, 9.5 seconds behind Reese, despite the contact on the last lap, takes home P4 ahead of Charles Leclerc in 5th for Audi. George Russell 6th for the second Audi driver. Max Verstappen beats his teammate Lando Norris in P7 and 8. Carlos Sainz finishes in 9th place for Ferrari, and then it is Pierre Gasly, our teammate, getting himself into the top 10. Rees took the fastest lap of the race for McLaren with a 1 minute 3.545. Looking at the second half of the table, it was Mick Schumacher that finished in P11 with Bottas down in 12th. Callum Ilott was 13th with Oscar Piastri in 14th. Nico Hulkenberg 15th for his final race in Formula 1. Robert Schwartzman is 16th for Aston Martin in what could be his final race in Formula 1. Strange one for Mercedes. Nick de Vries and Sergio Perez, 17th and 18th. I'm not quite sure what happened to them. Of course, de Vries was fighting for the lead at one stage, but that didn't transpire very long. Sam and Van Dorn both ended up DNFing from the Grand Prix. So despite their pit stop glitches, then both cars just DNF'd. So yeah, there's nothing we could do about that. So yeah, that is a bad day for Red Bull. Now, as we go ahead and look at the Drivers' Championship, this is how it ended up looking then. So as you can see, Rees went ahead and won the Formula 1 World Drivers' Championship for a second season in a row now. He ended up 14 points clear of ourselves in the end. So with our victory and Charles Leclerc finishing in P5, we actually managed to cement second place in the championship, which is not too bad, but it's really painful because we did lead the championship for quite a long time. Charles Leclerc finishes third in the championship on 217 points. 16 points was the difference between Charles Leclerc and Rees at the end. So the three of us could only be separated after 17 races by 16 points. It was a very close season. Lando Norris finishes the season fourth in the standings on 177 points. Lewis Hamilton ended up fifth for Ferrari with 161 points. It was a disappointing season for Ferrari. There's a lot of promise, especially at the start of the year, and it just never transpired. Sam 6th for Red Bull on 141 points. Again, weird season with Ferrari and Red Bull actually all intertwined with each other. Again, Red Bull had a slow start to the season, didn't have a great car, just like we didn't, but we were able to sneak out some great results. Red Bull then managed to get their act together and had a brilliant car and got great results, and then it just fell away again at the end of the season, whereas for us, we were kind of in that same boat where we were having a rough start, but we were able to take the points when they came, and then found some more performances, and then we just fell off at the end of the season for us. Sainz finishes 7th in the championship on 104 points, with Van Dorn 8th on 87 points. Max Verstappen finishes the championship in 9th on 83 points, with George Russell rounding out the top 10 on 73 points. And if you guys think that all I care about is the top 10 in the championship, well, I don't, because obviously I keep a track of everybody. So here's how the other half of the table looked in the Drivers' Championship in the end. So Daniel Ricciardo finished the championship in 11th place with 71 points to his name. Pierre Gasly, our teammate, rounded off the season with 55 points. His 1 point that he secured today moved him in front of Sergio Perez on 54 points. Nick de Vries had a very tough season for Mercedes with 21 points. Mick Schumacher had a very good season, 17 points to his name for Ford, with Callum Ilott securing 4 points for the second Ford car. Robert Schwartzman secured himself 2 points for Aston Martin, with Valtteri Bottas picking up the sole point for Porsche. And unfortunately, it was Costa del Blanco for Nico Hulkenberg and Oscar Piastri, both of them failing to score a point throughout the course of this season. Of course, they didn't quite have the machinery for it, but at the end of the day, it's a rough season for them. And here's how the Constructors' Championship looks then after this season. McLaren win the Constructors' Championship as well as the Drivers' Championship. They've done it again. McLaren are very much the team to be beating. 314 points for McLaren here today. Audi secured second place in the Constructors' Championship with 290 points. So well done to Audi on that one. We go ahead and secure third in the championship on 274 points. We managed to get ourselves back up into third after a bad final race for Jaguar. Actually also dropped them behind Ferrari, because Ferrari entered the championship with 265 points. Jaguar finished with 260 points, and then Red Bull had 228 points. But overall, the top 6 in the Constructors' Championship all season long was nip and tuck. It could have gone either way, and it just showed, you know, we had a bad US Grand Prix, not scoring a point, and we dropped 2 places in the Constructors' Championship. Then all of a sudden, we managed to have a good Brazilian Grand Prix, winning the race, and we managed to get back up 1 place in the Constructors. Then Jaguar had a tough race and dropped 2 places. It just flips like that. Mercedes ended the season with 75 points to their name, very much in a lonely place. To be honest, for them, they'll be looking to try and improve heading into next season. And then Ford ended the season with 21 points. Aston Martin picked up just 2 points, and Porsche only picking up the 1 point. But there it is. That is Season 8 all done and dusted, but not quite just yet. Let's go have a look at the post-race notebook and see how the teams and drivers reacted after an incredible Formula 1 season. look then at the post-race notebook after the Brazilian Grand Prix, Rees wins the Formula 1 World Drivers' Championship. It is back-to-back championships for Rees and McLaren, and they have thoroughly deserved it after a super strong season. P4 was enough for him to take the title. Tom managed to win the Grand Prix, and Charles Leclerc finished down in 5th place. Speaking of Charles Leclerc, Leclerc said that he was proud once again of Audi's efforts throughout the entirety of the season, but was still left with a sour taste in his mouth after once again falling short. Of course, he was in the run for the championship last season, and once again he was in it this season, but he just didn't have enough to take the title. Rees says that it's a dream come true to become a multiple world champion. Rees said that he was absolutely speechless last season when he won the championship for McLaren and his first title, but this one, he says, felt a bit more special after a tough start to the season. Tom has admitted that the championship was thrown away by him, as he felt from Belgium onwards he really did go away and leave the championship in the dust, and unfortunately for him, he just could never recover. At the Belgian Grand Prix, Tom of course DNF'd, and he did say that that could well be the race that cost him the championship, and in the end it looks like it had done. Of course then in the Canadian Grand Prix he damaged his own front wing, which cost him an opportunity, and then the US Grand Prix strategy went the wrong way, and there was too many rough races in a row, and he just meant that today's race, despite winning it and doing the objective, it had to solely rely on Rees DNFing, and it just didn't happen. But there it is, guys. That's another season of the F1 journey done and dusted. But don't you worry, because there are plans for a 9th season very much in the works, and hopefully I can bring that out very, very soon. But for now, as per usual, here is a little bit of a montage of all of some of the best bits of Season 8 of the F1 journey. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Take care all. Peace.
Take a moment right here, feeling like it's out gear, driving towards the sun with a rose and a gun. Feel the wind in my hair, going nowhere I swear, like an outlaw on the run. Dangerous but it's so fun, running, running, no. Hold on, don't let go. Running, running, no. Keep running. Told my boss that I'm done, had no luck with my mom. Say, what will you do with your life? You know it's hard to survive. A cigar in my mouth, maybe guilty but proud.